Simply Shay, Simply Shay.
Hey Shay with the word of the day. Roll low with the things you say. It's your girl Simply Shay. This feels the word of the day. It's Simply Shay. It's Simply Shay. It's Simply Shay.
Simply Shay, Simply Shay. Shay, 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 Shay.
Simply Shay.
Simply Shay, Simply Shay, Simply Shay.
What's up, Shay Base? It's your girl Simply Shay here with yet another video for our segment, Ladies Corner. Today's word of the day is going to be capacity. So without further ado, let's go. Alright, Shay Base, so this week's video is kind of going to be a part 2 to last week's video about best. And the reason why I chose to stick with the word capacity is because literally right after I finished making last week's video on best, I saw this quote, and then a few days later I saw another quote, and I'm like, okay God, are you trying to tell me something? And then kind of just over the course of this past week or so, I've been having to encourage different friends and different things like that on this idea of capacity and people having a certain capacity to love them. So the first quote that I saw right after I made the video best was, it said, I had to let my exes go so that they could find women on their level. It wasn't fair to have them trying to reach a capacity they were incapable of reaching. And so I saw that and I was just like, wow, that's literally what I just was talking about when I was saying sometimes God is going to give us better, but he won't give us our best. Sometimes it's because the person, just isn't the best. They don't have the capacity to reach the best. Sometimes that person will turn into your best, but the part that I want to focus on is them not having the capacity. And I don't want to say that and people get offended, or you feel like, I'm saying it's because something was wrong with the person. Ladies, this isn't an opportunity for you to take it and say, yeah, because I was too, It's not an opportunity for you to take it and run with it. It's an opportunity for you to reflect and be able to understand that it wasn't that you did something wrong. I feel like that happens a lot. This is the woman that I'm talking to. That feels like because something didn't work out, that feels like because it didn't end how they wanted it to end, because things didn't go how they wanted it to go, how they planned it to go, how they prayed for it to go, that they did something wrong. You kept trying to give so much of yourself, kept trying to do so much and be so much, and it just wasn't working, and you couldn't figure out why, and you started to blame yourself or feel down on yourself. It was not because of you. Some people just don't have the capacity to give you what you need. And that's okay. Life is about finding that. Life is about being so in tune with God and the Holy Spirit to be able to hear that, to be able to accept when someone was just meant to be a lesson for you, when they were just meant to be the better, to show you that there's better out there, but to propel you into finding your best. And so after seeing that quote, a few days later I saw this one, and it said, You're rare, so people are going to fall in love with the idea of having you, but most of them aren't used to rare. They're foreign to it, so they'll lack the capacity to treat you as such, and that's where they'll lose you. And so what I want to encourage you ladies with is to understand that sometimes it simply just doesn't work out because it's not meant to. For some men, they just don't have the capacity to love you the way that you need to be loved. And guys, if you're watching this can, go for you all too. Some women in your life, just don't have the capacity to be what you need for them. And that's okay. That is okay. We all have, for guys, we all have a missing rib, or you all, let me say that, have a missing rib. And for us ladies, we all have a rib cage that we're missing from. And life is about finding that. I say it all the time. You have to find Mr. Wrongs. You have to find better sometimes to get to your best. Sometimes better is what shows you, okay, hey, it is okay for me to trust again. Hey, it is okay for me to love again. Sometimes better is, okay, hey, you know, this person showed me something about myself that I didn't know that I was dealing with. Hey, this person, you know, taught me things about myself and how to handle myself in arguments. I don't know, you know, taught me how to handle myself in different situations. It just didn't work out. Hey, it doesn't mean that something was wrong with me because it didn't work out. And it doesn't necessarily mean that something was wrong with them because it didn't work out. It just meant that they did not have the capacity. They were not equipped with the proper tools to be able to undergird me. They weren't equipped with the tools to be able to undergird me. For some of us women, we can have very nasty attitudes. We can be very overbearing. We can be very loud, very, if it's the wrong man, you can run over them. And so, no, a weak-minded man or a man that isn't as, you know, assertive doesn't have the capacity to be what you need them to be. That's how the balance and unequally yoked thing will come into play, because you'll be more of the man than he is. So you may love him and he may love you, but he doesn't have the capacity. He's not equipped with the proper tools, the assertiveness that he needs to be able to calm down the overbearing part of you. You know what I mean? To calm down that part of you. For some women, we are super quiet and super submissive, and there are some men out there that are really domineering and will go and control you and, you know, basically take away your identity. Hey, he doesn't have the capacity to be gentle. It's not that something's wrong with you, it's that that person just doesn't have the capacity to give you what you need. The gentleness, you know what I mean? Taking it easy with you. He just can't. He just can't. He has to be strong. He has to be loud. He has to be, you know, show his roar. Sometimes it doesn't work out because of the lack of capacity. And the lack of capacity, again, it goes hand in hand with not being equally yoked. You have a lot of studies out there that say that women mature faster than, you know, men. And I'm not even going to get into that because I don't want my guys to stop watching my videos. But you know what? This is Ladies Corner, so whatever. We'll talk about it. But yeah, you know, a lot of studies say that women mature faster than men, and it definitely can be shown to be true. That, you know, I know a lot of us ladies have been in situations where it was kind of one of those, I see that all the time, right person, wrong time type thing. You know, right? Oh, it was the right person just at the wrong time. He just wasn't mature enough. He just couldn't figure it out. He just didn't have the capacity to love me. That's basically what you're saying. He didn't have the capacity. Whether it was the mental capacity, the emotional capacity, the physical capacity, he didn't, in some way, shape, or form, he was lacking the additional storage, the additional hard drive to be able to take care of you, love you, and treat you the way that you need it to be. You know, it's a difference in wanting something, because some of us women, we get these crazy ideas of what we want in men. Oh yes, I want him to be 7'8" and broad shoulders, and like, you know, we get all these unrealistic things. But when I'm talking about the capacity to be able to provide you with things that you need, with the love that you need, and on a spiritual level, being able to undergird your anointing, being able to cover your anointing, being able to lead you and really be the head, because that is what the man's job is supposed to be. But you can't just make any man your head. It has to be the right man. It has to be the best. And for some of us, we are trying to make men our head that don't have the capacity to be it. They just don't. They weren't equipped with the capacity, with the right amount of storage to be able to lead you. They weren't equipped with the knowledge, you know, to be able to take the reins and say, hey, you know, you're my woman, you're my missing rib. We're going to do this together. We're going to take on this world, you know, together. We're going to steer straight to God. Like they just weren't equipped with that. And it's okay. Now, I also want to put this out here, because I am a firm believer that there are some men that can gain the capacity. They can upgrade into the capacity. They can, you know what I mean? How with your iPhones, you can buy more storage. Right? iPhones, you can buy more storage. I mean, I'm sure Android, y'all can too, but we're not talking about y'all. But with iPhones, you can buy more storage. But you have to be willing to either pay the monthly, bill if you're going to do it with iCloud. You have to be willing to pay the extra money to get either the same phone with more storage or a different phone, a newer phone with more storage. You have to be willing to kind of put something out there in order to gain that more storage and in order to gain the capacity. Men, you have to be willing, and women too, you have to be willing to gain the experience. You have to be willing to make the change. You have to be willing to first and foremost accept, okay, right now I am not capable of giving her what she needs. Right now, I am not capable of giving him what he needs. I am not in myself right now capable and, fully equipped to be able to provide for this person that I love what they need in life and what they need from me. Hey, now this is your moment for decision. Ladies and gentlemen, what are we going to do? Are you going to say, nah, this is too much? I always see quotes that say things like you'll always be too much for the wrong person. Oh no, this is too much. She asking for too much. He asking for too much. I ain't even really want to do all of this. But hey, we're supposed to be growing together. That is how your better becomes your best. Because your better cannot have the capacity to love you, but because he or she wants to be the best for you, they purchase more storage. They go to our Father and get more storage. That is where that changes. That is where that upgrade happens. It is completely possible to upgrade, but you have to be willing to put the work in. You have to be willing to pay for it. You have to be willing to pay for it. You have to be willing to say, you know what? Yeah, I do like having more data, and I do like having a faster internet speed, and I do like being able to, be able to talk and not lose my signal in strange places that I'm losing my signal now because I only have 3G and this plan is offering me 4G. This upgrade is offering me 4G. You have to be willing to say, you know what, hey, I don't really like that we argue all the time. I don't really like that she goes to church by herself, or that when she asks me to fast with her, I tell her no, or that when she asks me just to do nice little things, I tell her no, or that we're not spending as much time as she would like together, or that I'm not really providing for her in this way, or that I don't really like that in this plan here, this upgrade option that God is giving me to upgrade into. It's saying that I can reach that. But dang, I gotta put in more time. But dang, I gotta be willing to step back and work on myself. But dang, I gotta be willing. What do I want to do? Your best will make the decision to upgrade. And for some of us, our best will have already upgraded. Some of us will find the best that's already upgraded. That's a blessing. We'll find the best that is already upgraded. But the person that just doesn't have the capacity, whether they don't have the money for it, or, whether it's that they're lacking, they're lacking, they just aren't meant to reach that capacity, or it's a conscious decision, hey, I don't really want to pay all that for that. I don't really want to put all this time in for that. I ain't really trying to do all that. It's too much effort for me. They'll show you. Hey, you're either not having the capacity by choice, or simply because you weren't meant to. You just weren't meant to have the capacity. And that is okay. That's what I really have been trying to get a friend of mine to understand, that sometimes it's okay to end things on good terms. Everything doesn't have to end on bad terms. It doesn't always have to be because he cheated and she did this and they was no good, down, dirty dog, and all this stuff like that. Sometimes it's simply, hey, we weren't clicking. We didn't have the capacity. He didn't have the capacity to love me how I wanted to be loved, and I had too much. I was overloading him. Or vice versa. She didn't have the capacity to give me what it was that I needed, and I was overloading her. We were overheating. We weren't equally yoked. The capacity just wasn't there. And in order to be able to see that, in order to be able to differentiate between, what's meant to grow and be upgraded into the capacity and what's meant to just be left alone so that you can find your missing rib and or rib cage or whatever, you have to pray. You have to fast. You have to talk to God. When I tell you guys, it is such an amazing feeling to be able to hear the voice of God clearly. To be able to be in situations and just stop and quiet yourself and just hear God talking to you. Both expected and unexpected. But to get to that level, to get to that place where you can hear God and know it's God, you have to spend time with Him. That has to be the most important relationship, because no one has the capacity to love you like God. No one has the will to love you like God. And He don't even have to upgrade. We have to upgrade to get to Him. We have to decide whether we're going to upgrade to get to Him. But no one can give that to you like God. And the great thing about God, yes, God is a jealous God, but God is also a God that will give you the desires of your heart. So if in you saying, okay, God, hey, I'm going to take this time with you to say, listen, I need you first and foremost to work on me, make sure that I am my best for my significant other and the person you might, for my best. But I also need you to show me what the best is. I need you to keep me hidden, keep me in a little bubble where we're just growing in a little cocoon where I'm, completing my metamorphosis. And then I need you to show me who my best is. For us ladies, hey, I need you to send him my way. For you guys, hey, I need you to show me where she is so I can go get her. You have to be willing to be patient. You have to be willing to be real and be honest with yourself, and most importantly with God, when it comes to understanding that there are some people that just don't have the capacity to give you what you need. And you can't take it as a intentional thing. You can't take it as a negative thing and just be mad and bitter and resentful, because some people, it's out of their control. You can't help that a person doesn't have the capacity to love you. You can't help that a person doesn't have the capacity to be there for you how you need them to. That's not their fault, and it's not your fault either. It's circumstance. Sometimes it's that, hey, you decided to start something with that person and didn't consult God first. So yeah, of course they don't have the capacity to give, of course they're not your best. Other times they just were meant to be better. And I know it may sound, that sucks, but they just were meant to be better. They just were meant to teach you something, or you just was meant to teach them something. I told y'all I've been having a lot of full circle moments where I'm just like, okay, God, I see why you had to let this happen. Okay, God, I get it. This person didn't have the capacity to give me what it was that I needed. Okay, God, I get it. This was for this purpose. Okay, God, I get it. I see why I had to go through this and why this had to happen like this. And, I've just been having a lot of those moments. And I hear people say all the time, you don't go through it for yourself. It's always for someone else. And it's like, I get that. I agree to that to a degree, but I feel like it's both and. Because in order for it to minister to someone else, in order for you to be able to minister it to someone else, it has to first minister to you. You do have to first grasp it, because if you go through it and you don't get it, how is it going to minister to someone else? You know what I mean? Effectively. Let me say that. How is it going to minister effectively to someone else? And so I just encourage you all to go to God about it. Go to God and make sure that you are surrounding yourself with the people who have the capacity to give you what it is that you need. Make sure that you're seeking Him in every decision that you're making. Make sure that you are giving people the full capacity of who you are and what you can give them. And let everything else be what it's going to be. Let everything else be what it's going to be. Go to God. Pray to Him. And just let it be. Just let it be. So, Shay Base, I hope that this gave you something to think about. I hope that it gave you something, to go and that you kind of want to just go and pray about and sit and meditate on. And just remember, we are growing and glowing every single day. All right, ladies. Bye.